Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your host, Garrison McDaniel, and we have a great show for you guys today. Today is the 4th of July, so for everybody in America, everybody's celebrating Happy 4th of July. But that means that I am out, partying, on a little bit of a weekend vacation here. So this is a pre-recorded episode, so this isn't live. I apologize. We will be back with the golf live stream on next Tuesday to go over everything that happens at the John Deere Classic. I am excited for this tournament for the weekend. You bet that I will be watching it while I am out at a pool somewhere watching some fireworks. So I'm excited for the 4th of July. I hope everybody is enjoying their 4th of July. But as I mentioned, this is a pre-recorded episode, so if anything I say today in this episode changes over the next day, I don't imagine anything really would, but I do apologize if I say something that has changed. So, we're going to go into our segments tonight. First segment will be the course breakdown for the John Deere Classic. Our second segment of the night, will be talking about Olympics preview, as we are now a month away from the Olympics, from the Golf Olympics. A lot of things are happening there. So I will be breaking down the field, talking about the favorites, who I think is playing the best golf going into the Olympics. It is still a month away, and I will do a bigger preview when we get to the course breakdown. However, right now, we're just talking about the field. The third segment will be talking about the FedEx Cup. Give a little bit of update. It's been about a couple months since I have done that, so it is very important to keep tabs on who's at the top 30, who's top 50, who's top 70, to keep looking at the tiers of the FedEx Cup and see who still needs to improve going into the later stages of it. Our fourth segment of the night, we'll be talking about the Open final qualifying for it. The fourth and final major of the year is 2 weeks away, and we finally got the field for it, so we'll be talking about that. And the fifth and final segment of the night, we'll be talking about my picks and predictions for the John Deere Classic, as always, for these Thursday episodes. That's how we end them off. So, thank you all for tuning in, and as always, if you guys would like to become a bigger part of the show, help support the show in more ways than you already do just by tuning in and paying attention to it, you can use the tips and donations link at the GSMCpodcast.net. It does go a long way to support all the creators here at the GSMC Sports Network, and we do appreciate any little bit helps. So with that being said, and without further ado, we're going to get right into our first segment of the night. This is the whole breakdown from last year. Granted, there probably are a lot of changes onto the course, as these courses do change every year, but usually for these non-signature and non-majors, we can take the course from last year and apply it to this season and this year. So taking a look at this one, We have a couple of easy holes to start out the round here on hole 1 and hole 2, and I'm gonna look at Seb Straka's winning scorecard from last season to compare with what these guys elect to do on a lot of these holes. So it looks like Seb Straka went for 3-wood off the tee on hole 1 last season in his first round, and it seems like he did that in the first round, did that in the second round, and in the third round. So 3-wood off the tee to hit into the middle of the fairway. It is a dogleg left this first hole. Plays a little easier. You have 2 good shots. If you can't connect, it is an easy birdie opportunity to start your round. Next up is a par 5 fifth that plays less than half a stroke under par. So a lot of eagles, but even more birdies here. Very difficult to lose your round here on the 5th hole. It is a huge birdie opportunity. Seb Straka on the 4th round last season got an eagle in his 9-under day to win the tournament. He had a double bogey on the final hole that made the scorecard look a little bit worse, but he was on pace for a 60 to finish out this tournament, one of the best rounds of the weekend. So Seb Straka on round 4, playing almost perfect golf, ends up getting a 350-yard drive, almost lands it in the bunker that you would see. It would seem like it would be out of play. This is another dog leg. It's to the right this time instead of to the left that the first hole is. So about 350 into fairway bunkers, but as long as you don't hit the best drive of your life, you're pretty solid. And then you have about 200, 220 on to the green, and you should be able to 1 or 2 putt it for eagle / birdie. Apologies. And then off next is the third hole. It is a par 3, plays a little bit over par. Fourth hardest hole on the golf course. More bogeys last year than birdies on this hole, especially with the back right pin position that we saw on the final day last year. It's going to play very difficult. A lot of 2-putts on this green, just looking for par there. Next up is a bit of an easier par 4. This one plays about 0.2 of a stroke under par, 454-yard par 4 that had 119 birdies and 30 bogeys last season. A big par hole, but if you're able to drive this over the trees on the right side, you have 340-yard drive like Seb Straka is able to do. It'll give yourself 70 yards to the pin. Very easy, basically chip shot for these guys. I'm going to look at Ludwig Oberg's scorecard as well, that he finished T4 last year in this event, and it seems like he kind of does the same idea. A 315-yard drive, that's why I switched up to Ludwig Oberg's scorecard. Shows you what more of the field would do. Ends in the middle of the fairway, and then he has 110 to the green opposed to Seb Straka's 70 yard to the green. Next up on the par 4 fifth hole, this plays dead even to par. 76 birdies, 64 bogeys, 6 double pluses last season with 304 pars. You're looking for par on this hole. You have a landing zone that's about 300 yards. You do have to take a little bit off of your drive if you want to get it into the landing zone and instead of the rough. But if you're able to drive it, I would say about 350, 360 yards, it'll land you to to the front of, you could maybe target the rough here, which will be about 70 yards in the rough. Would be a little bit more difficult. Fairways are a huge thing to hit on this golf course, so if you're able to hit fairways, you should be good here. Next is a 367-yard par 4, plays under par, a short par 4 here that these guys can really attack. Seb Straka elects to go with his 5-wood, about 260 yards here into the landing zone of the fairway. But you can really target the flag and target the green here if you're able to drive it 350 yards. Seb Straka wasn't too confident, still birdies it with a fantastic chip shot. Being able to hit fairways is important, but also being able to play well with greens in regulation will be huge in this tournament, as well as we've seen a lot of greens in regulation. As of late. Some guys really playing fantastic golf. Next up is the 13th hardest hole on the golf course, so 6th easiest hole on the golf course. Plays about 200-yard par 3. You have basically, if you hit it to the middle of the green, wherever the flag is, you'll have a 10-foot putt for birdie. Give yourself a really good look there. Next up, 5th hardest hole on the golf course. It's a 440-yard par 4. However, you can really attack this par 4. It's a narrow fairway, so maybe if you're not too confident in your accuracy with the driver, you are gonna elect to play with your 3-wood or 5-wood on this hole. However, if you are playing some good, if you are driving the ball well, you could really get it down there. Long fairway here. It's also the 5th hardest hole on the golf course. This par 4 8th, plays a 0.2 of a stroke over par. Next up, par 4 9th is the hardest hole on the golf course. Plays about a 1/10 of a stroke over par here. One of the only holes that my apologies. One of the only holes that played more bogeys than birdies last year. 500-yard par 4 leaves you with a little bit of an awkward. It plays more like a par 5, but Seb Straka last year able to absolutely go out there and get this one. Gets the 3, gets a birdie on his final round. Ludwig Oberg on that par 4 9th, 310 and then 210 onto the green. Really difficult second shot here. That's what makes this one so difficult. Expect a lot of bogeys on the 9th hole here. Next up, the 10th hole. You have a par 5 that plays about 600 yards. One of the easier holes on the golf course last year. Played about the 3rd, 4th easiest hole on the course. 0.2 of a stroke under par. We saw 3 eagles last year on this hole. Seb Straka last year ending up not playing with his electing to go with his 5-wood instead of his driver. That's an interesting decision. I guess he was a little bit cautious of the rough last year. They elected to go with that 5-wood instead of driver. That makes you lay up on this hole, and if you lay up and not able to one putt, it's going to end up being a par here, especially since it's 600 yards. Next, par 4 11th is 409 yards. It is the 5th easiest hole. Apologies. It is the 5th easiest hole on the golf course, ranking 14th. It played about 200th of a stroke under par. For the whole weekend, it was the dead middle, most difficult / easiest hole at number 9. Par 3 12th, 215 yards. It is the 6th hardest hole on the golf course. One of the 6 holes or 7 holes on the course that does play over par. Next, par 4 13th, 424 yards. The 11th easiest hole on the golf, or the 8th easiest hole on the golf course. 400th of a stroke over par there for the 13th hole. If you're able to hit the fairway, it'll be an easy about 80-90 yard shot onto the green. Able to put it close to the pin, you're able to get a birdie there pretty easily. Next up, par 4 15th is the second hardest hole on the golf course. Actually, over the entire weekend, it was the 7th hardest hole on the golf course. On Sunday, it was the 2nd hardest hole on the golf course. That shows you how difficult the pin position can get on this green when it's all the way to the back. If it is one of those forward pin positions that we saw on that Friday round, you're really able to go out and get there. Go out and get this one. It is a little bit easier on the earlier days, but on the final day, expect a lot of bogeys on this one when it's in that back position. Par 3 16th plays as the 8th hardest hole on the golf course on the Sunday. Played as the 13th hardest hole on the golf course throughout the weekend. A 10th of a stroke under par. The same thing, back pin position is a little bit more difficult for these guys. 17th hole, par 5, ranked as one of the easier holes on the entire golf course. The 2nd easiest hole on the golf course, played 4/10 of a stroke under par. You're able to go out there and drive it as far as you want, and then have a good 3/5 wood shot onto the green for a par / birdie / eagle if you're able to go out there and get it. Not too many bogeys on this hole, only 35 the entire weekend. 6 eagles, 204 birdies, more birdies than there were pars on this hole. Next up is the par 4 18th. This is the one that Seb Straka double bogeyed last year, but it doesn't matter. There is water to the left of the green, so you can't miss your second shot left. But if you're able to attack the green, you're able to really get a good score here. This did play as the hardest hole on the golf course last year on Sunday. 2nd hardest hole overall on the golf course throughout the entire weekend, playing a 10th of a stroke over par. So that'll wrap it up for our course breakdown of the John Deere Classic. When I come back, we will be talking about the Olympics, giving a preview of it, and talking about the field for the Olympics for the 2024 Paris Olympics.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown, get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits, some losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip, you choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the
Welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm back with our second segment of the night. We just got finished talking about the course breakdown for the John Deere Classic. But before we move on to the Olympics preview, I would like to remind you guys that if you want to become a bigger part of the show here at the GSMCpodcast.net, use the tips and donations link that I just mentioned, and that is across the screen right now, to help support the creators here at the GSMCpodcast.net and the GSMC Sports Network. We appreciate anything, everything helps there. So going on now to the Olympics preview. All we can really do is look at the field because we don't have the exact course stats just yet. I was actually looking for it earlier, but it doesn't seem like we are able to see. So sorry. The competition format. So there's going to be a men's and a women's. There's going to be a men's and women's field. I will not be talking about the women's field here on this podcast. We do stick to the men's pro circuit. If you do want to listen to the women's preview, I know one of my fellow co-hosts, or not my fellow co-host, but one of my fellow hosts here at the GSMC Sports Network, Samantha Genzer, does a fantastic job breaking down all things Olympics, and I know she'll probably get to the to the Paris women's golf field and event. So keep an eye out for that from the Women's Hoops and Heels podcast. However, for this time, we're going to just be talking and looking at the men's field. The Olympic golf competition consists of a 72-hole individual stroke play for both men and women. 4 rounds scheduled over 4 consecutive days. Scores are cumulative from round to round. The player with the lowest aggregate score wins. Very typical, PGA Tour stuff here. The Le Golf National is the course. I do speak French, so that just means the national golf. It is one of Europe's top golf courses, a beautiful and innovative setting to welcome the highest levels of international competition. It is located in Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines, 41 kilometers from the Olympic Village, owned and managed by the French Golf Federation. The venue was conceived as a permanent home for the annual French Open tournament and as a national training facility. Le Golf National opened in 1991 and was fully renovated in 2016. In 2018, it hosted the Ryder Cup. So, has hosted some pretty big events in the past, and we're going to take a look at the 2018 Ryder Cup as a reference. So some of the guys that played in the field in the 2018 Ryder Cup and some of the guys that will be playing in this field this upcoming year. So for the Ryder Cup, it was Brooks Koepka, Dustin Johnson, Justin Thomas, Patrick Reed, Bubba Watson, Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, Webb Simpson, Bryson DeChambeau, Phil Mickelson, Tiger Woods, and Tony Finau, I believe, were the ones that were picked to play in the Ryder Cup. I believe America did win this one. Europe won this one by a lot. Yes, this was the one that Europe won a lot. So the Europeans did get an advantage here in this French golf course. If I could find the scores, I don't know why I can't find the scores from this one. Okay, there we go. Paul Casey was one of the best players for Europe. Francesco Molinari, Tommy Fleetwood, and Sergio Garcia all also played very well. Rory McIlroy didn't have too great of a weekend here at the Ryder Cup. He was 2-3-0 at the Ryder Cup. So what does that mean for this Olympics preview? Well, Rory McIlroy has been on this golf course playing in a big tournament before and didn't play too well. I believe Francesco Molinari is also in the field. Let me make sure that is correct. Let me go down to Italy here. And no, he is actually not. He actually did not qualify. That's a shock that he didn't. But, as I'm speaking now, we're going to go through the field a little bit and then toss back to the 2018 Ryder Cup to look at how they do. First off, the United States gets 4 guys here because they are top 15 in the official World Golf Rankings. Everybody in the top 15 of the official World Golf Rankings gets to go on, but there is a maximum of 4 per country. So The only country with 4 is America. It's Scotty Scheffler, Xander Schauffele, Wyndham Clark, and Colin Morikawa. I talked plenty about that in a previous podcast if you guys want to check that out. But for Ireland, this is probably the second best team. Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry is a fantastic team. But as I mentioned, Rory McIlroy not too fantastic when it comes to this golf course. Ludvig Åberg, Alex Noren from Sweden can make some noise. That's going to be one to look out for. Norway's Victor Hovland is going to be very much one to look out for, but Chris Ventura isn't the best second there. In Spain, it's John Rahm and David Puig instead of Sergio Garcia. John Rahm we knew would make it, but David Puig was a little bit of a shock from Spain. He definitely has a chance, however, to do something here. Japan, it's Hideki Matsuyama and Keita Nakajima. We're going to see if Hideki is healthy here. He might have to withdraw, and I wouldn't be shocked if he does. Tommy Fleetwood and Matt Fitzpatrick from Great Britain. Tommy Fleetwood, I believe, was in this 2018 Ryder Cup. He was, and he was fantastic at it. So some guys that are in the field that were in this Ryder Cup is Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, Alex Noren, and John Rahm. John Rahm was 1 and 2 overall in his 3 matches, so only 1 win. Alex Noren was 2-1 and 0 overall, so 2 points is very impressive for Alex Noren. Rory McIlroy 2-3 and 0 as I mentioned, and then Tommy Fleetwood was 4-1 and 0. So Tommy Fleetwood is definitely one to look out for. And Matt Fitzpatrick is a fantastic second person here in Great Britain. Great Britain might be one of the favorites along with United States, Ireland, and Sweden. I like those 4 teams the most. Another team that I really like is France. The home country, Mathieu Pavon, Victor Perez on their own course at the Golf National. Is going to be very interesting to see if they're able to play some good golf in their home course that both of them probably have played a lot before. Next up, Austria. Sepp Straka is the only qualifier from Austria. Australia has Jason Day and Minwoo Lee, which is a very strong pairing. Canada, Nick Taylor, Corey Connors looks very good. South Africa, Christian Bezuidenhout and Eric Van Rooyen is a good pair there. Christian Bezuidenhout does a little bit more than Eric Van Rooyen, but both of them can definitely play some good golf. Germany, Stefan Jaeger and Matti Schmid was the ones that qualified. Denmark, Nikolai Højgaard and Thorbjørn Olesen. Thorbjørn Olesen was also in this Ryder Cup. Thorbjørn Olesen was 1 and 1 in his 2 matches, so not too much to go off from him. None of the Americans that are going to be in this field in this field for the Paris Olympics played in the 2018 Ryder Cups, as the 2018 Ryder Cups was a lot of older names still in this one with Tiger Woods, Bubba Watson, Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, some guys that are on the back end of their golfing careers now were in this one. The best player for America was Justin Thomas. He was 4-1 and 0, and Jordan Spieth was 3-2 and 0. Both of them won both of their four balls as well, so impressive stuff there. I believe both of them were paired in both the 4 balls that they played in. Tiger Woods lost all 4 matches that he played in, but he won't be in this Olympics, so not really much to talk about there. Going back to the field, though, as Thorbjørn Olesen was in the Ryder Cup 1 and 1. So he does have experience on this golf course as well. Belgium with Thomas Dietrich and Adrian Dumont de Chazart could be a good pairing. Argentina is one of the more sneakier ones. Emiliano Grillo and Alejandro Tosti is a fantastic pairing from Argentina. New Zealand, Ryan Fox and Daniel Hillier. I don't know too much from them. Poland, Adrian Maronk. Chile, Joaquin Niemann and Cristobal del Solar. Joaquin Niemann is going to be a big name in this field as he has had some fantastic results over in Live Golf. We'll see if he's able to play well in France. Sami Välimäki is the only Finland in the field. Taiwan has CT Pan and Kevin Yu. Netherlands, Joost Luiten and Darius Vandriel qualified. Joost Luiten had to sue the Netherlands Federation for a spot in the Olympics, and he did win that lawsuit, so we'll see him. But as far as Darius Vandriel, I'd be shocked if he doesn't sue and also make it to Paris. China is Carl Yuan and Zhe Shongdu. Colombia, Camilo Villegas and Nico Echevarria. Italy, Matteo Manassero and Guido Migliozzi. India is two guys that I'm not even going to try to pronounce their names because that just can only result in chaos for me. Puerto Rico is Rafael Campos. Mexico, Carlos Ortiz and Abraham Answer. I believe both of them are in Live Golf. I know Abraham Answer is. Thailand is two names I'm not going to pronounce. Malaysia, Gavin Green. And Paraguay, Fabrizio Zanotti. So those are the guys that qualified. A lot of countries are going to also be represented here at the Paris Olympics. It's going to be interesting to see what the field looks like and how the course does play. We'll talk more about the course breakdown when we get a little bit closer to it, probably the week of for the Paris Olympics. But that'll wrap it up for this second segment, talking about the Olympics preview. Next up on the docket, we'll be talking about the FedEx Cup and give you a little bit update about 3 quarters now through this 2024 golf season.
Looking for your daily fix of sports talk without having to pay for it? GSMC Sports Network is available on YouTube. Just search GSMC Sports Network. Get your fix of daily sports talk shows on YouTube, absolutely free. NFL, college football, NBA, MLB, MMA, UFC, fantasy football, and so much more. GSMC Sports Network has shows running all day long, with new sports shows starting every 2 hours. Just like on your favorite cable sports channel, except GSMC Sports Network is absolutely free. Just search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube to catch one of your new favorite shows, like the GSMC College Football Podcast, Chip Shot Football Podcast, Hoops and Heels Women's Sports Podcast, GSMC Basketball Podcast, and so many more. Check it out for yourself. GSMC Sports Network, now available on YouTube absolutely free. Search GSMC Sports Network on YouTube right now.
Welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We have the FedEx Cup standings up to my right here, and we're talking all FedEx Cup update here with the guys really trying to make a charge here at the end for the top 70, for the top 50, and for the top 30. If you don't know, top 70 gets you into the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Top 50 gets you into the BMW Championship, and then top 30 gets you into the Tour Championship. So you want to really be in that top 30. If you're in that top 30, you get into all the others. So a lot of golf still left to play, by the way. This all happens in August and September. A lot still going on here in the golf world. A lot to look forward to. For the FedEx Cup, it is interesting to note the guys that are kind of on the edge right now. So going from 71 onward here for guys on the outside looking in, you have Victor Perez, Lucas Glover, Andrew Putnam, Nikolai Højgaard, Justin Rose, Keith Mitchell, Adam Svensson are the 7 guys that are on the border right now from 71st to 77th. So those guys will be in the field this upcoming week. Hopefully they will be able to put together some good results here. You have 2 top 10s for Victor Perez, 2 top 10s for Andrew Putnam, 1 Nikolai Højgaard, 1 for Justin Rose, 3 for Keith Mitchell, and so on and so forth. Other big names that are down here, Nick Dunlap at 87th after he got off to a fast start, winning his first tournament earlier this season, but not too many top 10s beyond that, and he is now at all the way down to 87th in the FedEx Cup standings. And really, he jumped up 6 spots from last week. He went into the field at the Rocket Mortgage at 93rd, now at 87th. So did get a good result there, but needs more than just that. Needs to get some more top 10s if he wants to be in that top 70. Doug Gim is another guy on the outside looking in. Ricky Fowler at 93rd right now. No top 10s the entire season is very disappointing for Ricky. We'll see if he's able to play some good golf coming down the stretch. Other guys, Joel Damon at 102. You have Alejandro Tosti at 113. Sam Ryder at 118. You have Garrett Higo at 130. Other big names like Matt Kuchar at 140, as well as Thorbjorn Olesen is at 153. JJ Spawn 156. David Lipsky at 160, who has only one top 10 on the year. So yeah, a lot of guys down there. But when we get into the top 70, this is where the guys are looking to move up the most and looking to jump into that top 50 here. The biggest contender is Davis Thompson with 3 top 10s. Had a fantastic weekend last week, unable to win. However, at the Rocket Mortgage, still looking to climb. I believe he is not in the field for the John Deere Classic, but still a long season left to go. Grayson Murray, who has a win this season at 52nd, not doing too well beyond that win. He did get that win at the Sunny Open in Hawaii, where he beat Byung-Hun An and Keegan Bradley in the playoff. So for Grayson Murray, he is a little bit farther away than you would expect him to be here. Those are projected. Let's go back to official. There we go. So Grayson Murray at 52nd, dropping 2 spots this past weekend from not playing at the Rocket Mortgage. I do believe that he is back in the field at the John Deere Classic to improve himself back into that top 50. Peter Malnati at 54, Minwoo Lee at 55. He jumps 9 spots from a good good weekend at the Rocket Mortgage. He started at 64. Now only 5 spots out of that BMW Championship. Aaron Rye jumped 14 spots after a fantastic Rocket Mortgage, now up to 58. He's going to be in contention at the John Deere Classic, and hopefully for him, he's going to be able to get a good result to put himself in the top 50. Jordan Spieth, dropping 6 spots from last weekend from not being in the field, really needs to have a good weekend here at the John Deere Classic. He is a threat to win it. He can definitely do it so, but he's going to need at least a top 5 to top 10 if he wants to play some golf later into the season. Right now, 59th. Mark Hubbard at 60. Maverick McNeely at 62. Emiliano Grillo at 63. Davis Riley, who has a win this year, at 64, but that win and that top 10 is really all he has showing on his scorecard or on his results. Other big names like Adam Schenk at 68, Adam Scott 69. Moving into the next tier, top 50 through top 30. Some big names are in this tier here that are going to be looking to get into the top 30. A lot of golfers are in contention always. Golf is in a very good spot. Mackenzie Hughes, top 50, or is on that line right at 50th right now, dropped 2 spots from not playing last weekend. He will be in the field at the John Deere Classic if I'm not mistaken, which will be good for him. Patrick Rogers is 49th. Victor Hovland 48th. For Victor Hovland, very disappointing season, only 1 top 10 the entire year, but he is one that can win an event at any moment and really jump up in these standings. Alex Noren at 47, same goes for him. Billy Horschel, who has won this year a top 4 top 10s as well, has a really good result card, however just not being able to put together consistent cuts or made cuts, and that's really what's hurting him. Harris English, only 2 top 10s, but he's 45th. Jake Knapp at 44th, 1 win and 4 top 10s. Denny McCarthy 43rd. Austin Eckroat, 1 win, 1 top 10, is at 42nd. Nick Taylor 41st. Has 1 win and 3 top 10s. Nick Taylor has been playing some good golf this year and can definitely jump. This tier is a bunch of Canadians. I think all of the Canadians on tour, all 5 of the Canadians are in this tier here. Taylor Pendrith, Adam Hadwin, Corey Connors, Nick Taylor, and Mackenzie Hughes are all there. Cam Davis, who just got his win, jumped 37 spots on the back of that win and now is comfortably in the top 70. That's how much a win can do for you on tour here in the FedEx Cup standings. Tom Kim with at 39th with the 2nd place at the Travelers Championship. He does remain at 2nd place there. Will Zalatoris 38 with 3 top 10s on the year. He's been playing good golf even through the injury. Hopefully he can get back to the point where we all know he can be. Bobby McIntyre with a win and 4 top 10s this year is 37th. Keegan Bradley, 2 top 10s at 36th. Matt Fitzpatrick, 3 top 10s at 35th. Corey Connors, Siwoo Kim, Adam Hadwith, and Taylor Pendrith round out the top 50 here for the BMW Championship. A lot of guys that can really increase in the FedEx Cup points. There is a bunch of guys around. So between Taylor Pendrith and 952. Between Taylor Pendrith and Austin Eckroat, which is 12 spots, there is only 200 points that separate these guys. Might I remind you, you get 500 points for a win on tour, 700 points for a signature event win. So we are out of the signature event, so there is no more 700 points up for grabs. But 500 points being up for grabs this weekend is going to be huge. For a guy like Jordan Spieth, if he were to go on and win at the if he were to go on and win this weekend, he would be at 1188, which would put him all the way up to 24th or 25th above Sam Burns and Max Homa. That's a huge jump, man. He needs this one so bad. Not really banking on him to win, but if he were to be able to do so, it would be huge for his chances at a top 30. But in this final tier here, top 30 through number 1, Cameron Young is the first name on this list. 6 top 10s without a win. We talked about him on Tuesday's podcast. Go check out that 5th segment there on Cameron Young's breakdown on Sunday. Very disappointing, but he does jump into the top 30 from that Rocket Mortgage top 6. JT Poston's up there. Jason Day is 28th from the back, off the back of a fantastic start to the year. Not doing so well as of lately, but he can always turn around his season. Thomas Dietrich at 27. Max Homa at 26 with only 3 top 10s, but playing fantastic in the big tournaments. That's why he's 26. Sam Burns, 6 top 10s without a win. Tommy Fleetwood, 3 top 10s without a win this season. Stefan Jaeger, a win and 3 top 10s, gets him into 23rd. Chris Kirk, first 2 top 10s at 22nd. Brian Harmon, 3 top 10s. Christian Bezadenhout, 20th. Russell Henley, 19th. Tom Hoagie, 18th. Seb Straka, 17th. He's in the field. He can definitely win. If he were to win, he would go all the way up to 7th, which would be huge for him. Justin Thomas, who is having a sneaky good year. Honestly, Justin Thomas is a player that when I looked at when I'm looking at the season, I don't think of him. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. I don't think of him as having such a fantastic year, but really a fantastic start to the year and a T5 at the Travelers, a T8 at the PGA Championship, a T5 at the RBC Heritage, T12 at the Arnold Palmer, T12 at the at the Waste Management, T6 at Pebble Beach, and a T3 at the Amex. The guy's not having a bad season, and he's up there at 16th in the FedEx Cup because of it. He's not in the field this week because he feels very comfortable with where he is at, and it does make sense. Sung J M at 15, Matthew Pavone at 14, Tony Finau 13, Shane Lowry 12, Akshay Bhatia is all the way up to 11 with a fantastic season with a win on it as well. And then the top 10, Byung-Hun An, who is having a great year. Patrick Cantlay at 9, Steve Thigala at 8, Hideki Matsuyama 7, Ludwig Oberg at 6 without a win, Wyndham Clark at 5th with a win and 5 top 5s. This is really Colin Morikawa is the highest without a win at 4th. Apologies, I had to sneeze again. Allergies really killing me right now. But Colin Morikawa 4th without a win is very impressive. 6 top 10s this year for Colin. Rory McIlroy is 3rd. Xander Schauffele at 2nd. And Scotty Scheffler at 1st. With 6 wins and 13 top 10s, Scotty Scheffler is absolutely ridiculous. What a fantastic golfer. So that wrap it up for the FedEx Cup updates. Those are who are at each level of the FedEx Cup standings, who needs to improve, and who feels comfortable with where they are at. When I come back for my 3rd break of the night and when I blow my nose, I will be talking about the Open qualifying and who is going to be in the 4th and final major of the year.
For the best and latest podcasts available anywhere, go to the podcast app on your cell phone and type in GSMC to access free content-rich podcasts on health and wellness, book reviews, sports, entertainment, relationships, social media, movies, technology, finance, and even weird news. Subscribe and download the GSMC Podcast Network's family of shows, available everywhere podcasts are found.
Welcome back to the GSMC Golf Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm here back with our penultimate segment, talking about the Open Final Qualifying, as a bunch of big names were able to qualify for this for the fourth and final major of the year. So this is a tweet from Evan Priest. 16 qualifiers from the Open Final Qualifying: Sam Hutsby, Angel Hidalgo, Liam Nolan, Jack McDonald at Dundonald, which is the course that one of the qualifiers took place. Another course was Matthew Dodd Barry, Sam Horsfield, who was on the PGA Tour and is now on Live Golf Tour, if I'm not mistaken. Daniel Brown and Masahiro Kawamura at West Lancashire. At Royal Cinque Ports, it's Matthew Southgate, Ozzy Elvis Smiley, Jamie Montojo, and Louise Massavo. Matthew Southgate, is that Gareth Southgate? Does he have any relation to Gareth Southgate, the England manager? Guys, I feel a sneeze coming on, so if I have to mute myself, I do apologize. I don't think he has any relations with Gareth Southgate. But it would be very fun. I gotta figure this out if he does, as I'm just now seeing the name. No, he doesn't. But that would be funny. But Matthew Southgate, a 35-year-old golfer on the European Tour, does qualify at Royal Cinque Ports with Ozzy Elvis Smiley, Jamie Montojo or Jaime Montojo, and Louis Masovo. And then the final qualifying, it is where the bigger names are. At Burnham and Barrow, it's Justin Rose, Dominic Clemens, Abraham Answer, and Charlie Lind. Justin Rose and Abraham Answer, of course, being two Live golfers. So biggest name that was really left out is Sergio Garcia, and this is a article from golf.com. After just slipping into the field at the US Open last month, Sergio Garcia will not be as fortunate for the Open Championship later this month at Royal Troon. Garcia played Open Championship final qualifying for the second year in a row after coming up short last year. The Live Golf star again missed on Tuesday at West Lancashire Golf Club, posting a 71, 74, 36 hole total of 3 under to miss, nabbing one of 4 available spots by 2 strokes. The Masters champion's day was marred by an episode during his first round after his group was one of several warned for slow play. That Garcia, by far the biggest name in the field of 72 hopefuls, had the largest crowds of the day and had to wait on most tees for fans to move off of his playing line. So he was very upset about the officials at the Open qualifying. Sergio Garcia was, because he was warned from slow play. He was caught on video saying to an official, "You're right, we're always wrong," talking about the officials. Of course, being sarcastic in there. But who is going to be in the field for the Open Championship? Of course, as I mentioned, it's Justin Rose, and those are the final qualifiers. But now the field is set. Looking at the field for the Open Championship, and I swear I had it pulled up, but it looks like I don't. But let me make sure. Yeah, let me make sure I pull it up here, as it will be important to get the field down, because that's what we are talking about. I really thought I did have it pulled up, and I'm disappointed now that I don't. My apologies. There we go. Alright, so we're going to have Ludwig Oberg, Byung-Hun An, Abraham Answer, Mason Anderson, Christian Bezaden, Akshay Bhatia, Alexander Bjork, Dan Bradbury, Keegan Bradley, Dean Burmeister, Sam Burns, Patrick Cantlay, Wyndham Clark, Eric Cole, Corey Connors, John Daly will be in the field because he did win this event in 1995, so he gets champions exemption. Jason Day, Bryson DeChambeau, David Duval, Austin Eckroat, Ernie Els, Harris English, Tony Finau, Matt Fitzpatrick, Tommy Fleetwood, Ricky Fowler, Ryan Fox, Lucas Glover, Ben Griffin, Emiliano Grillo, Adam Hadwin, Todd Hamilton, who won it in 2004, Brian Harmon, who won it last year, will be in the field, of course, Tyrell Hatton, Russell Henley will be in the field. Tom Hoagie, Nikolai Højgaard will be in the field. Zach Johnson, who won it in 2015, will be in the field. Sungjae Im. Dustin Johnson will be in the field. Victor Hovland, Sam Horsfield, Billy Horschel, Max Homa. So, a lot of the PGA Tour guys that we all know and love, and then a bunch of the winners' exemptions. So let's talk about those winners' exemptions that we will be seeing in the field. Tiger Woods will be in this field. He won it in 2000, 2005, and 2006. This guy was absolutely silly between 2000 and 2009. He gets the winner's exemption, so he'll be in it. Henrik Stenson, the 2016 winner, will be in this. Jordan Spieth won it in 2017, so he'll be in it. Cameron Smith, 2022. Luis Oosthuizen, 2010 winner. 2021 winner Colin Morikawa, who would have been in there no matter what. Francisco Molinari, who won in 2018. Phil Mickelson will be in the field, who won it in 2013. Rory McIlroy, the winner in 2014, his last major that he's won before his decade-long drought. Shane Lowry in 2019. Justin Leonard in 1997. Zach Johnson in 2015, as I mentioned. Padraig Harrington in 07 and 08. Todd Hamilton 04. Those are your winners' exemptions. As for the amateurs in this field, we are seeing a whole host of amateurs. Gordon Sargent is the one that we all know the most, but Liam Nolan from Ireland will be in this field. Tommy Morrison, Santiago de la Fuente will be in this field. Dominic Clemens, Callum Scott, Jasper Stubbs, and Alton van der Merwe will be in this field. The ones that are debuting here: Ludwig Oberg, Eric Cole, Santiago de la Fuente, as I mentioned, Mason Anderson, Akshay Bhatia is debuting at the Open Championship now. Austin Eckroat's getting his debut at the Open Championship. Steven Yeager. More notable names: Andy Ogletree, who is playing on Live Golf, is getting his first Open Championship stab. Sebastian Soderberg, Vincent Norman are all debuting. So that is going to be the field for the Open Championship. It looks like it's going to be a fun one, full one for it. That will be in 2 weeks. We'll be talking a lot more about it in the upcoming 2 weeks. But the final qualifying just happened. That's why we did talk about it. So a lot of big amateurs also made it, and big names being left out, like Sergio Garcia, not in this field. I didn't see Bryson DeChambeau in this field. He is. I just completely skipped over him. I would have been shocked if he wasn't in the field. But that's who's going to be at the Open Final qualifying on the second week in July, or the third week in July. So I'm excited for that one. The fourth and final major of the year. Always a good one to look forward to. So that'll wrap it up for our fourth segment. When I come back for my fifth and final segment of the night, we'll be talking about my picks and predictions for the John Deere Classic. Welcome back to our fifth and final segment of the GSMC Golf Podcast, presented by the GSMC Sports Network. We are talking about my picks and predictions for the John Deere Classic, as it is the tournament that is going on this weekend. So, going over to the betting odds for the John Deere Classic, and this is the most wide open tournament that I've seen in a very long time. It's crazy that Jordan Spieth isn't like the heavy favorite here. The problem in a lot of the fields is Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Colin Morikawa, Xander Schauffele. Those guys are so much above, like, those guys are playing a different level of golf than the rest of the field in the PGA Tour. So when they're not around, we're looking at betting odds like this. Plus 1,600 is the favorite, and it's co-favorites between Sungjae Im and Sepp Straka. Sepp Straka can absolutely go out here and win a day on this course that we saw last season with his 9-under play on Sunday. However, he isn't that consistent, and we haven't seen him play too fantastic this past season, so I'm not going to bet on him. Another guy that we haven't seen play too fantastic this past season, Jordan Spieth. I'm not going to bet on Jordan Spieth unless he proves me wrong. He still hasn't proved me wrong. Stay away from Jordan Spieth's line. That is my one piece of advice, solid piece of advice for this weekend. Some guys that I really like in this field. I think this is Jason Day's time. He's had a quiet last few months after a fantastic start to this season. So for Jason Day, I think it's going to be time for him to finally start to win again and play some fantastic golf again, like we know he can do. Former world #1 golfer for a very long time. Some other names in this field that I feel very confident in is Aaron Rai, who just had a fantastic weekend at the Rocket Mortgage. I've seen some good stuff from Aaron Rai. Actually, let me pull up his latest results to kind of back up what I'm saying here. So he's 58th now in the FedEx Cup standings. He's from Wolverhampton. Fun fact. I'm just looking at his PGA Tour, and that's what I saw. But this season, T2 at the Rocket Mortgage, a T19 at the U.S. Open, T14 at the Canadian Open, T32 at the Charles Schwab, T39 at the PGA, T4 at the Byron Nelson, T23 at the Zurich Classic. He hasn't been cut since the Punta Cana Championship in April. Has had a very great recent run of events here in the last 2 or 3 months. So. And Aaron Rai can absolutely go out there and win a day. He has never won. He has never won on tour in the 85 events that he's played in, but he's only been on tour for 2 seasons now, or this is his 3rd season on tour. Has won 5 times in the European Tour, though. He is a fantastic golfer. He can definitely go out there and win a day. He's one of the best strokes gained total in the entire field, 8th in strokes gained total. So one of the best approach shots in all of golf, 6th with the irons, 28th off the tee, 58th around the green, and like I said, 8th total. He has one of the best, polygons, and he just hasn't been able to get it to work. If I were to bet on any of the favorites here, it would be Aaron Rai, and just tossing $10 on Aaron Rai would return you $200 on the DraftKings Sportsbook, and I don't hate that. I think that is a fantastic bet. Other guys I'm looking for, I would find it hard to believe that Jordan Spieth doesn't at least get a top 5. I wouldn't bet on it, but he is plus 500 for a top 5, and it would be so hard for me to imagine him not being in the top 5. Other guys that I really like a little bit down the board, I really like Lucas Glover. Luke Clanton showed me a lot that I would, I would feel very confident on him after that performance at the Rocket Mortgage. Other guys like Michael Thorntonson being at plus 8,000 feels a little bit disrespectful. I think that could be a good bet as well. Maybe not to win, but he did play in this tournament last season, got 14 under in it in I think it might have been his PGA Tour debut. It could not have been, but he was an amateur last year and played some fantastic golf. Davis Riley, who's won. Neil Shipley being plus 10,000. If you could find a Neil Shipley versus Michael Thorntonson matchup, I think that would be very interesting. Those are the 2 biggest names in like the guys debuting most recently on tour. So I've been really looking at them. I think it's very interesting to see how they do perform. But I would say that Neil Shipley has played some fantastic golf, and for his top 10, which I think is very likely for Neil Shipley, is plus 900. So, $100 returns you 900, so $10 returns you 90. I don't hate that. I think that could be a very, very, very good bet. I think that might be my best bet, actually. Neil Shipley, top 10 here, would be my best bet at plus 900. My second best bet would be Aaron Rye to win at plus 2,000. I really like that. I think that is very possible. Some tournament props, big guns versus the field. Big guns, that means Sungjae Im, Seb Straka, Jordan Spieth, and Aaron Rye at plus 400 opposed to the field. I would like that a lot. I would take one of those four to win. I would feel very confident about that. Round props, you can always look at that. And yeah, just for the tournament lines and for the winners, like I said, I really like Aaron Rye. What makes Aaron Rye different on the John Deere Classic? Well, like I said, he's playing some great golf going into this weekend. And also, I really love his approach shots. You see a lot of approach shots within 100 feet when you have as good of a driver as he does. He's so accurate with the driver as well. His approach shots from less than 100 yards is 31st on tour. He puts it closest to the pin, or as close to the pin as anybody. Looking at his proximity to the pin, if I could find it on, there it is. Proximity to hole is 20th. His greens in regulation percentage is second only to Scotty Scheffler at 71.65%. His iron play really stands out here, and it can be a very big point of advantage. He doesn't end up in the rough off the driver. He's second in right rough tendency and 12th in left rough tendency. That means he hits fairways. What did I mention in that first segment talking about this golf course, talking about the breakdown of it? Well, you need to hit fairways, and he does. And I mean, his average driving distance is about 295. It's about 295, and that's, I mean, that will play, right? As we say, that will play. I don't think he'll have a problem whatsoever with that. Going from more of his approaches, he's fantastic with his woods. His approaches from 200 to 225 yards is 22nd on tour, which is very important to note. He is fantastic with his 5-wood and 3-wood, which on the par 5s, these are par 5s that you can really get scores on. And for Aaron Rye, if he is able to do so on them, I think that he puts himself in a very great position. So I really like that favorites versus the field bet at plus 400 for the favorites. I think that would make a good bit of sense. Some other names in this field that I kind of would stay away from. Nick Dunlap, I think I'd stay away from. Maybe a Denny McCarthy I'd stay away from. Davis Thompson I would stay away from. I don't think Laney can strike twice with him. But I think it's going to be a very, just overall thoughts on the John Deere Classic. I think it's going to be one of the more fun non-feature / non-majors that we have this year. I'm very much looking forward to it for good reason as well. I'm very excited for just to see the play of Jordan Spieth back at the John Deere Classic, where he won his first ever PGA Tour event. And then alongside, I love watching Neil Shipley and Michael Thorntonson play golf. Both of them are some of my favorite golfers in the world right now. So I'm excited to see how they do play. I'm excited for this tournament overall. Looking forward to the John Deere Classic. So that'll wrap it up for this Thursday edition of the GSMC Golf Podcast, this pre-recorded edition. I appreciate all you guys for understanding. Looking forward to the holiday. Hope you all are having a great 4th of July and 4th of July weekend. And thank you all for tuning in to the GSMC Golf Podcast presented by the GSMC Sports Network. If you guys would like to like and subscribe to the show on YouTube, that would be much appreciated. If you would also rate us on whatever platform you are listening to this on, I would appreciate it as well. If you want to get more content and updates from the GSMC Sports Network, use the tips and donations. go to TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram to follow us at the GSMC Sports Network. And one last time, thank you all for tuning in. All of your support means so much to us here at the GSMC Sports Network. And all of you guys have a fantastic and wonderful evening and weekend.
Let's go.
Mm-hmm.